The Tenacious 10, the 10 Division, can take pride in a century of their history laden with gallantry, sacrifice and performance, bagging unmatched laurels along the way and being the oldest and the most honored formation of the Pakistan Army. Some of the finest units with a history spanning centuries with impeccable and enviable evidence of traditions of honor, courage and professionalism have served in the Tenacious 10. In November 1914, 3 brigades, 28, 29 and 30 arrived in Egypt to defend the Suez Canal. On 25 November, these brigades were grouped together and the 10 Indian Infantry Division came into being. Seeing its first action in Kantara, where a rebel attack was repulsed, the division was ordered to Palestine to participate in operations against Nablus. Clearing opposition along the way, the division attacked Nablus from the northeast, completing the operation. The fighting for the division in World War I had ended. The Second World War began. The Tenacious 10 was re-raised in January 1941 by Major General W.J. Slim at Ahmednagar, comprising 20, 21, 25 and later 10 brigades, and landed in Basra by May and moved to Habbaniya and then to Baghdad to crush the Vichy rebellion. A brigade sent to Syria forced the Vichy commanders to sign an armistice. Meanwhile, the Russians had entered the Caspian ports of Iran and the division was ordered to the rescue. It reached Tehran before the Russians could. The division was back to Mosul. The battle for Libya opened on 27 May 1942. The Tenacious 10 was committed. The division took up defenses in areas Al-Adam Pass, Gambut and Sidi Razir, and later Marsa Matruh when a retreat was ordered to El Alamein. El Alamein was vital and the remnants of 10 Division thwarted the repeated German attacks. With this action, the Tenacious 10 had turned the tide and it was pulled out to Cyprus and Syria for regrouping. The war swept into Italy. The division, with Major General Denis Reed in command, moved to Ortona in Italy and were then ordered to pursue the Germans in the upper Tiber Valley. It captured Ambatide and contacted Città di Castello, reaching the end of the Tiber Basin, fighting through 40 miles in a month. Here, Naik Yashwant Gadge was awarded a Victoria Cross for his gallantry. The Tenacious 10 had made its mark.
Nella seconda guerra mondiale mio nonno faceva parte della resistenza partigiana. Quando era vivo mi parlava spesso della 10ª divisione, composta solo da soldati indiani, e praticamente mi parlava che grazie a loro siamo praticamente riusciti a liberare tutto questo territorio. Mi parlava anche che questi soldati indiani erano praticamente molto coraggiosi.
The division had reached Babina facing the main enemy positions when it was shifted to the Adriatic coast. Clearing San Marino provided a start line for the action along the Po Valley. 20 Brigade made an opportunity crossing over River Savio and captured Forli, ultimately overpowering the 90 light panzers west of Fenze. The division was near Bologna when the ceasefire was declared and the division moved to Trieste. The Muslims of the subcontinent were pursuing their dream, and the largest mass migration took place during the partition of India and Pakistan. The 10th Division at Lahore put in all it could in caring and providing relief to the uprooted, homeless and bewildered immigrants. During the small hours of 6 September, the Indian Army attacked Lahore on a very wide front with Lahore and Kusur as its initial objectives. There were 2 Indian infantry divisions against 10 Division, the defenders of Lahore. 15 Indian Division advanced along Grand Trunk Road approach, while the 7 Indian Division used Kalra-Barki approach. The main defences of the division were based on the major obstacle BRBL Canal. 10 Division had 7 infantry battalions to defend a front of about 50 miles. The protective detachments deployed ahead of the eastern bank of the canal, and a company commanded by Major Shafkat Baloch delayed the enemy at Hudiara Drain for 8 hours while the main position was ready.
हमारे ये लड़ रहे थे, हम सुबह 5 बजे से लेकर 3 बजे तक लड़ते रहे। जब हमें वापस का हुक्म मिला, वापस आए, जनरल साहब ने पूछा भाई शाबाश कितने आदमी बचे कितने हो? मैंने कहा ये सब बच गए।
The Indians attacked Barki, and it took 7 infantry division 3 days to capture the small village of Barki. The village was held by elements commanded by Major Aziz Bhatti Shaheed, the only recipient of Nishan-e-Haider during the 1965 war. The main defences on Wagah axis on the BRBL canal was contacted on the morning of 6 September, and here their advance ended. On 8 September, a counterattack was launched by a brigade. It crossed BRBL at Siphon, and after a tough fight at Beni Bridge, cleared eastern bank of the canal up to Dograi. The Indians continued with their counterattacks, but could not dislodge the elements of 10 Division. In this sector, the Indians could not cross the BRBL canal anywhere. They had been effectively checked by Tenacious 10. Lahore was as far away from the Indians as on the first day of the war.
That was some of the best fighting that I've ever seen. What we did was we put both the companies onto tanks. I formed a line and then told them to advance to the GT road and capture Dograi.
1971 was a high-stress time for the entire nation. The war began at 1800 hours on 3 December. The 10th Division, using its experience of the last war, jumped into action and pushed forward into Indian territory during night of the 3rd December. The offensive posture of the valiant 10th Division continued, and many posts and villages close to the border were captured, including Pulkanjri, Mulakot, China Bedichand, Takula, Kalsiyan and Gilpan. The enemy launched desperate counterattacks but was invariably beaten back. After the ceasefire, the enemy treacherously attacked Pulkanjri. It was stalled ahead of the post by a counterattack. The bravery of last night Muhammad Mahfuz won the division yet another Nishan-e-Haider. Whenever called upon, the 10th Division has been helping the civilian government in the interest of the nation, be it natural calamities like earthquakes or floods or any task beyond the capability of the civil administration to handle. The menace of terrorism has added yet another dimension to the duties of the division. All ranks received training in anti-terrorism techniques, and the division is ready to face this challenge as well. The Tenacious 10 resolves to keep its men fully trained in all areas of warfare, and every individual is imbued with the spirit of defending the homeland at any cost and will not desist in offering any sacrifice that it may be called upon by the nation, and in order to discharge honorably its assigned duty, be it peace or war. The formation sign, red over blue with black shield, adopted in 1941, denotes river crossing at night with blood spilling. The round shield was adopted in 1956, and it says to all, "Prosper in peace." We are there on the walls, guarding. On 25 November, these brigades were grouped together and the 10 Indian Infantry Division came into being. Seeing its first action in Kantara, where a rebel attack was repulsed, the division was ordered to Palestine to participate in operations against Nablus. Clearing opposition along the way, the division attacked Nablus from the northeast, completing the operation. The fighting for the division in World War I had ended. The Second World War began. The Tenacious 10 was really just 10. The 10 Division can take pride in a century of their history, laden with gallantry, sacrifice and performance, bagging unmatched laurels along the way, and being the oldest and the most honored formation of the Pakistan Army. Some of the finest units with a history spanning centuries, with impeccable and enviable evidence of traditions of honor, courage and professionalism, have served in the Tenacious 10. In November 1914, 3 brigades, 28, 29 and 30, arrived in Egypt to defend the Suez Canal. The Tenacious